Hello, Silver Greyscale here, and it's time to start up our next project, which just so happens to align with October. Welcome to Castlevania Harmony of Dissonance. And I am playing this off of the Advanced Collection on Steam, as I figured it was easier to record this than moving my Switch from where it is right now and playing that version. So yeah, I'm playing this a bit on my own time. So let's hop into data 2. I'm just gonna name this LP. 50 years have passed since Simon Belmont vanquished the curse of Dracula. Fate has dictated that Juste Belmont, blood descendant of the Belmont family, hunt for the relics of Dracula. One day, Juste's best friend, Maxim, who had set out on a training expedition 2 years earlier, returned unexpectedly, his body covered with wounds. He informs Juste that Lydie, a childhood friend whom they both deeply care about, has been kidnapped. Maxim has completely lost his memory from his time training away from home, and only has vague images of the kidnapping. Ignoring his bodily injuries, Maxim leads Juste to the place where he believes Lydie is being held captive. Passing through the thick fog, the two men happen upon a castle undocumented on any map. Could this be the fabled Dracula's castle? Standing solemnly in the night, this forbidding castle welcomes its unexpected guests, as the moonlight shines upon it. So, this is the second Castlevania released on the GBA. The first one was Circle of the Moon, which is non-canon. And people mostly complain about that game because, oh, it's too dark, we can't see shit, because the classic Game Boy Advance didn't have a backlight. So this game is a lot brighter. And this is also Iga trying essentially to get closer to how Symphony of the Night was, and try to essentially have that on the GBA. He eventually succeeded with Aria of Sorrow, which I covered a long ass time ago, as well as the sequel Dawn of Sorrow. So you truly believe Lydie was brought to this castle? My memory fails me, but this seems to be the place. Don't you believe me? I know better than anyone that you are not the type to lie. Juste. Are you alright? I'm fine. It's Lydie you should be concerned about, not me. Go on ahead. I'll be right behind you. You have my word. Okay then. I'll see you inside. So, Juste Belmont carries both the blood of the Belmonts and the blood of the Belnades family. As, if you recall, one of the canon endings, well, basically the canon ending of Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse, is Sypha and Trevor getting married. So from that point onwards, every Belmont carries a bit of Belnades blood, but only a few Belmonts actually made use of it. Because only a few Belmonts know the use of magic. And Juste here is one of the few who can use magic, which we will get into later. Equipment-wise, he's only carrying Justin Bieber's bracelet. No, that is Juste Belmont's bracelet. Juste has grown attached to this bracelet and always wears it. But you can de-equip it, and it does literally nothing. We have nothing else. We have no body armor. We are, of course, carrying the Vampire Killer Whip, because we are the next Belmont in line, so of course we have the legendary whip. In this game, you can find certain stones to change the kind of damage that the whip does. And there are stones later on that will also give you certain abilities. Of course, we have the usual stats like strength, defense, intelligence, and luck. Item-wise, we're carrying nothing. We have none of the spell books. We have no relics. We have no secret info found. So control-wise, Juste controls like any other Game Boy Advance Castlevania protagonist. You move with the D-pad, jump with the A button, whip with the B button, or attack with the B button. We just happen to have the whip. Holding it, and it falls like this, and you can essentially just move it around as you see fit. This will be useful in a few moments throughout the game, but normally it's a lot better to just whip. Juste is also the only Belmont, and well, the only protagonist who can dash forward and dash backwards. Everyone else can just dash backwards, but Juste can actually dash back and forth. So let us get across here. As you can see, we don't have a slide. And we start with an escape sequence. All I'm gonna say is, remember this part for later, when we get more movement abilities, because it is a Metroidvania. We are going to get a lot more movement abilities than a single jump. Trust me on this. Anyway, the drawbridge goes up, and we have a boss already! No. Essentially, that's all they do. And we can now go into the entrance. This one is gonna stay up for a while. Of course, you can whip candles. It wouldn't be a Castlevania game without it. So, there are two kinds of hearts. Small hearts worth 1 and big hearts worth 5. They are to power your sub-weapons, which we will pick up later on. So, sadly, we can't jump high, and sadly, you know, unlike other platforming protagonists, Juste hasn't learned the art of extending your arms and grabbing onto ledges. So we can do the next best thing. Vandalism! Gee, no wonder Dracula hates these guys. So, one thing to point out. If you press select, you bring up a map. So we're going to start by going this way, first of all. We are very quickly going to run into a dead end going this way. So I recommend doing that first. Let's put on the boots. Now, you can put these on wherever you want. You can put them on here. You can put them on at the bottom. I just prefer to have them on at the bottom, as it's basically what I usually remember. This is a skeleton. You can consider skeletons as the Goombas of the Castlevania universe. So, the fist we just picked up is called the Sacred Fist. So to activate the sub-weapon, you hold up and you press the attack button. Yep, we have a JoJo's reference. Sadly, even though it looks like you're punching a shit ton of times, you won't do damage that fast. Here we have our first relic, the Soul Orb. It is the same thing as Symphony of the Night. We can now see the damage we do. And worth picking up on, rather. As you saw there, in this candle over here, this is where we got the Sacred Fist. If you have a sub-weapon already and you whip the candle that usually contains it, you get a big heart. Zombies, the other Goomba of the series, basically. Throwing dagger, pretty much the usual stuff. And as you can see here, just like in Rondo of Blood and Symphony of the Night, you don't automatically lose a sub-weapon, so you can try out a sub-weapon, and if you don't like it, you can switch back. Got some money, because there is a store system. The Holy Bible, because, you know, holy vampire hunters. Without any magic, it just spins around from you and going outwards. This is a life max up. We will find these throughout the castle, and they will, well, as it said on the tin, give us more health. And yes, they will also fully heal you if you are wounded. Going through this door here. And we end up in the Shrine of the Apostates. Sadly, even though we see a relic over there, we can't go through this door. Which is why I said you will find a dead end fairly fast. But I do always recommend taking this path first. Because of the very simple fact that, you will get some good stuff like the health max up and the soul orb. So what just happened there is that we killed enough enemies, and every time you kill enemies, you get experience. When you hit a certain threshold, you will level up. This will increase your stats, health, MP, stuff like that. However, it will not increase your max hearts. For that, you have to actually find a heart max up, similar to the life max ups. So yeah, we can now take this path where we're supposed to go. Let's grab this leather armor here. Bats, they are mostly annoying. This is like one of the only parts where just flicking the whip around can be useful, but still. Potions, we can use those from the inventory screen. No longer do you have to actually equip them to use them. So this follows the same trend as later Metroidvanias. That was rude. And the only gripe most people have with this game is the soundtrack. I tend to halfly agree. While I like Harmony of Dissonance soundtrack to a bit at least, I definitely agree that the best soundtrack in the series so far on this system definitely goes to Aria of Sorrow. With Circle of the Moon being a distant second. Well, basically sharing a distant second, because I mostly feel like both this game and Circle have some good tunes. But Circle definitely used the hardware a bit better. Die, please, thank you. This is a save room. So we can save there, and that will save our progress, fully heal you, bring back your MP, stuff like that. Holy water! I love this thing. It does damage over time to anything that touches its flame. So that's something to definitely keep in mind. And hey, I talked about this earlier. Heart max up. We go from a max of I think 33 to 38. This increases it by 5, so just so you're aware of that, so there are a lot of those in the castle. Armor Knights here, if they spin their spear, they cannot be harmed. And we can't do jack shit in this room because limited movement options. Ow! I was not fast enough. Luckily, we are faster than Richter, who faces these in the Super Nintendo port of Dracula X, which, by the way, is on this collection. I do not know why, but it is. So, welcome to the next area of the game, the Marble Corridor. And we have Bone Soldiers. They are a bit faster than regular skeletons. Basically, when they see you, they will beeline for you. And they take a bit more to deal with. Halt! The color of your soul. You must be a Belmont. That is correct. This overwhelming power. Death? Indeed. Which means this is in fact Dracula's castle. That might be true, though the power that is here is not my lord's. What do you mean? I must go now. We shall meet again, son of Belmont. Ah! He got away. So yeah, death is here. Which means that this must in fact be Dracula's castle, but like he said, the power that's here is not his master's. So this is basically the first time, chronologically, that someone else uses Dracula's castle. So we picked up Castle Map 1, which fills out most of the map for us here. And I can now point out that red rooms are save rooms. So if you have discovered a save room, it will be red on the map. And we can see here that there are a lot of like cool, not really cool, but like we have a lot of paths to go already. Bonk my head there. Ow! Ow! You are rude. Die. And yeah, somehow they can even block fire by spinning that spear. Don't think that's how it works. So that is forward progress. We're not gonna do that yet. We're gonna go this way first. We have a very simple, well, block puzzle. Basically just push it down and then push it all the way so we can actually jump up here. Deal with you using holy water, just so I have a lot more space to work with. But yeah, this is one thing that I love about this game, is the fact that you have one weapon throughout the entire game, which is the whip. So you start off with fairly good range. So, just like I said, Juste is one of the few Belmonts in history that actually benefits from his Belnada's blood. By ducking and pressing both shoulder buttons, you can enable or disable magic. As you can see here, we go from a grey background on the assault weapon to a colored background. Now, when you press up and B, you use magic with the sub-weapon. It doesn't use up any hearts, however it uses up the blue bar, which is your MP. Every sub-weapon has its unique magic attack. This is the one for the holy water. It is pretty powerful. However, again, does nothing if the armor knight decides that he's gonna spin his spear. And of course, because it's elemental magic, the game, you know, has weaknesses and resistances and all that. Stuff you will know when we find this game's bestiary, which is somewhere in the castle. Where, we do not know. But it is somewhere. Ow. So I don't think we get that far down here. We discover the Room of Illusion and the Lizardmen. Basically, they have two attacks. When they see you, they will either lunge at you with their rapier, or they will ball up and roll towards you. Either be ready to jump or be ready to backdash. However, we've been going on for about 20 minutes and I feel like this is a good place to stop. So next time, we're going to be exploring the rest of the Room of Illusion, and then we will continue on in the Marble Corridor. See you guys then. Bye-bye.